各位观众朋友们，大家好，我是追风。华人朋友们一直最关心的问题就是，现在移民墨西哥政策是不是越来越收紧了呢？因为网上的各类信息很多，也有网友们在问追风，如果我的经济条件都达标了，能不能直接申请永居呢？还有居住在美国和加拿大的网友们来问追风，在哪些领馆去申请墨西哥居住证，这个通过率比较高呢？或者面签的时候我们得注意点什么呢？所以今天呢，我就邀请到了居住在墨西哥我所在的城市波特瓦亚塔的一位好朋友，也是呢移民律师，来和大家说一下这些问题。Hi Anna, thank you for taking this invitation and talk to our clients.
你好。
Can you introduce yourself first?
Yes, thank you so much for being here, for the invitation to talk to you this morning. I hope this information be very helpful for the people watching. My name is Ana Leiva. I'm an attorney, real estate attorney, that I offer immigration services as well for everybody that wants to move to Mexico. I have 25 years of experience, and I'm happy to be here talking to you this morning.
Normally, which people are you do the service for?
We have in Puerto Vallarta lots of Americans, Canadians, but I have had some Chinese clients in the past. I got the permanent residency for them. They applied in the Shanghai consulate, and it went pretty smooth and pretty easy. Once you have the stamp or the visa on your passport, the paperwork here in Vallarta is actually quite easy at the local immigration office in PV.
Okay. Yeah, one of the questions I always get from our audience is, if my economic solvency fits the requirements, can I just directly apply for the permanent residency?
You can always apply for the permanent residency, which is the migratory conditions we all want. But sometimes when you're not over 60 years old, if you're too young, let's say somebody in their 30s, 40s, even if you meet the financial requirements or you have enough money in your bank statements, they still don't grant the permanently right away because they consider you're still active, working with family and work commitments in your country. So they don't think you're still ready to be here permanently, but they will give you the temporary residency. You will be one first year as temporary, you renew for 3 more, and once you have been 4 consecutive years temporary, you can easily at the local immigration office change your condition to permanent.
Yeah, so they want to see if you are really ready to move to Mexico, not just because you want
to. I guess the time is still a factor, that you still get to be able to spend time in Mexico, living here, maybe not full time, but still with some flexibility.
And for some people, like if they apply their residency in the consulates in US or Canada, do you have any recommendations? Which consulates are like generally or more friendly?
Sure. Sometimes I get feedbacks from my clients and they said, for example, any consulate in Los Angeles is very friendly, flexible. They always say great things about Orlando. Believe it or not, it's not that busy. You can get an appointment very easy, and a lot of my clients got permanent directly in Orlando. Also, Vegas is one of the consulates that they are more friendly. The conversation is only 20 minutes, and I haven't heard people get denied in those consulates.
Yeah, I remember Orlando. This is the one I always recommend to our clients. Like go there, even you have the U.S. tourist visa, visiting visa, B1, B2.
Exactly.
And you go there, it's much easier.
They're very friendly and very flexible. Yes.
Like. What about in Canada? We also have many Chinese.
A lot of my Canadians clients, they said that Vancouver can be very strict, and Winnipeg, and all of the Canadians are dealing with more strict rules. And it's difficult to get an appointment, but I gotta say, once you get the appointment, the interview, if you're friendly about how do you see Mexico? Why are you interested in knowing more about Mexico? What do you like about our culture or history or even the food? And you get into this very friendly conversation with the people at the consulate. They will really understand your genuine and authentic desire to know more about our country. That helps a lot.
Right.
But of course, it's very important that you meet with the financial requirements, that you bring your paperwork in order, and your 12 months of bank statements are always going to be super important so you can prove that you are ready to live in Mexico with resources from your own country.
So another question is we want to ask Anna, for people when they apply for the residency, people make some common mistakes.
Yes.
So anything from your experience, you can share it with our clients so they can avoid those mistakes.
Sure. For example, we have clients that sometimes, even though, for example, think about an American that for some reason is going for business to Canada or something, and they apply in another country. You can, because at the end, if you want to apply and you go to a consulate in Guatemala, you can. But the problem that happens when the applicants applies in a Mexican consulate that is not the one in their address or in their country, you can bring, for example, bank statements that are in English, but if you go to the Guatemala consulate, they will speak Spanish. So you need the special requirements like the stamp from the bank, an additional letter from the bank, and maybe the translations of the bank's statements into the language of the consulate you're going. That can be a common mistake because a lot of people only bring the bank statements, but they don't request the letter that is signed and stamped from the banker, or also the translation when you have these double languages involved in your documents. Another mistake could be that you don't bring the bank statements of all of your accounts. Sometimes you have one account of investment, the other one from your pension, if people is retired already, and maybe you have another one of savings, and you only bring the bank statements of one account, and you still during the interview mention your other income. You have to always support all the incomes that you're talking about during the interview. So if you have 1, 2, or 3 bank accounts, I know it's a lot of paper, but still you have to bring 12 months of bank statements of each account that you have.
And each month you need to get that requirement.
Exactly.
Amount. If 1 month is short, it might be
well,
some difficulty.
it's 1 month is short, it's only one, and the rest of the months are okay. Well, you could say that month you have a little bit more expensive if it's not consistent. Maybe just 1 month or 2 along the year, that's fine. The problem is when you don't have incomes, nothing, and then there is a surprising, very big deposit in 1 month that maybe it could be that somebody gave you a loan just so you could go to the consulate, but it's not a real income that is consistent, that you have a way to support it in your account. That looks very fishy, and of course the consulate won't support your application or authorize it. You have to prove consistency in your monthly balance.
So like for some of my Chinese clients, they said, oh, we transfer the money from China to another country's bank account. Now it's only for 12 months. You think this can be fishy? Or do they need to prove, like, look, the money before was also mine, but in my Chinese account?
I gotta say, it can be a little difficult, more with the anti-laundering money in Mexico. We have to always prove that our money is legal, that it's, we have to, if you have a way to support that it came from your personal bank account from China, maybe you can bring a letter from your Chinese bank translated into the English, so you can prove that you have had this account in China for many years, that is your money, but that you are a Chinese person living in US that has also a bank account in US, and that is still your money. Bringing a letter from the bank of origin and then having it translated for purposes to present it to the Mexican consulate, because of course the legal language in a Mexican consulate is Spanish. I think that would be a very clear way to prove that it was still your money.
Just in case they ask you where you got the money.
Exactly.
It's only 1 year, 2 years saving, where you got those.
Exactly. We have to always prove that it's a legal funds raised. Sure.
The next question also many Chinese clients ask me, if my wife and my husband already applied for the residence card, can we use the family reunion way to get the residence card?
Oh, yes, that's actually one of my favorites ways to apply. It's really simple because you don't have to go to the consulate, you don't have to wait in for an appointment or prove financial solvency, no bank statements, nothing. The most important document in this application would be the marriage certificate. And we would just need we have two options. Or the couple is married in Puerto Vallarta, the marriage certificate will be in Spanish and we can go to the local office. The person will take 2 years as temporary and then they can become permanent. But if you were married in the United States or Canada or China, it's pretty easy as long as you get the original marriage certificate recent, no more than 1 year old. So if you got married 10 years ago, for example, you need to apply for a more recent marriage license. Then you get the apostille, the translation into the Spanish, and we can apply in the local office here. The process will take 2 months. You will get 2 years of temporary and then you will be permanent. It's like a way to do it shorter. You don't have to wait the 4 years. It's only important to mention that the authority has to visit the address to make sure that the couple really lives together and that the marriage is real and authentic and you will be authorized. But the family union,
if the couple for the moment they live in Canada or in the US, can they apply there?
Actually, no, you don't have to go to the consulate. You can do it locally here, but they need to both travel to Vallarta and stay here for at least 2 months. You can also go to the consulate and say, I want to apply for family union. If they give the visa to the wife for family union, they still need to come together, but because they already proved in the consulate that they're together, maybe the period of the resolution will be shorter and you don't have that visit to the address and the husband can leave sooner, or the other spouse that is already resident doesn't really have to be here the whole time.
Yeah, but that's the difference. For people who has life and work, kids still live in Canada, US, I think it may be better for their convenience.
See,
they
for
don't
their
have
convenience.
Time for 2 months.
Exactly, it's a long period of time.
Especially when they have kids.
Sure.
It's hard to live for 2 months.
Correct, yeah.
So
they could
just
go to the consulate there by union familiar.
Right. Then they come here to do the
to finish the process. It's a canje as well, but not for financial solvency, but in virtue of the link with your wife or your husband.
Right. This I have been telling my audience, like I do that in the country, which is easier for you.
It's easier.
Here, of course, it's also, they don't have to check your bank accounts, but it takes 2 months.
And if you ask me if it's financial solvency, you always have to go 4 years. If they don't give you permanent since the beginning and they only authorize you temporary, you have to do 1 plus renewal for 3 to be 4 years. But if you do it in virtue of the link with your spouse, in 2 years, you're permanent.
Right. Even they apply in the US, Canada, they still can get the 2 years.
2 years.
Doesn't have to do 1 year, 3 years.
No, they will give you temporary 2 years, and in 2 years you change to permanent.
Right.
You save 2 years.
So even faster than the husband.
Yes,
right?
See, that's true. The only thing is if your husband, let's say, is temporary and he's in his first years of temporary, and then you get the residency in virtue of the marriage with a temporary residency in his first year, because you depend on him, you cannot go faster than him. So you will have to get it 3 years so you can go together with him. When he becomes permanent, you become permanent too. But that's why you will only get it in 2 years if your temporary spouse it's already in his renewal or if he's permanent already. Yes. But in most of the cases, yes, you can be permanent in 2 years.
Okay.
Yes.
If they apply immediately, so normally they get the same time.
Correct.
Right, like 1 year, 3 years.
See, if they apply immediately, yes, because at the end, you will depend on the main application. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And the wife that is depending on the husband can go permanent sooner than the main person that applied. They have to go together.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's also most family want to go this
Together,
family,
yeah,
right?
they want to go on the same timing, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, another question is about the interview. Like during the interview, which questions normally they ask, and which things we should be cautious not to say.
Well, they will always ask you if your money or resources are legal. How did you get to that amount? How did you receive the investment? If in case that you retire, they will ask about when you were working and how, what was your employment about, and they also will want to know why Mexico. Of all the countries in the world, why thinking about moving to Mexico? They will ask you, what do you like about our country? And that is where you can feel with all the freedom to really say what is what you like about this country. If it's the culture, if it's the history, if it's that the people is friendly, maybe the freedom that we had in this country, you can feel free to tell everything you want. It's going to be a 30 minutes interview with the consul. They will review your paperwork, but definitely they will ask questions about why Mexico.
But what about some people, they have never traveled to Mexico before? They only saw in the video, in the TV.
They can be
YouTube.
honest and say, well, I have never been there, but I want to. What I have seen in YouTube videos, what I have seen in newspapers, articles, or even documentaries about the country get my attention, and I really want to go and try. I'm going to be retired. I'm trying to invest. I might buy a house there. I love the beach. I love the sunny places. And then you will be honest that you have never been in Mexico, but there's still a real interest in getting to know more about this country.
And
Yes.
this would not be the reason they reject you.
No, definitely no. I guess honestly, the Mexican consulates don't deny a lot of people, or they if they cannot give you the permanent right away. Mexico is such a friendly country that I can tell you most of the people will get at least temporary, which is great still if you ask me. All those people that are denied, that I think it's very few and
Very
very
few.
minimum percentage of the applicants, would be because there's something wrong with their inconsistency in their money. That is bank accounts that if you show the balance every month, there are very dramatic changes from one month to the other. Maybe they don't prove where the money is coming from. And of course, the Mexican government is going to be very, I don't know, they want to know exactly that everything, all of our activities are legal. And if there is people that cannot prove where the money is coming from one day to the other, it can create a problem. But it's not just because you have never been in Mexico or because you have never traveled to this country before. I think we have a very friendly politic of towards other countries. I don't
Right.
think that would be a problem at all.
Yeah, I asked you because recently there's a client emailed me like, hey, I just got rejected in the Boston consulate.
Oh,
Yeah, because the reasons why is that your bank account, your income, anything is approval. I said, yeah, because I have never traveled to Mexico. So the consulate said, I suggest you to go to see how you like it.
or maybe it was like
Yeah.
very personal opinion
Very
of the
personal.
consulate.
Can
The
be.
good thing is, I gotta say, even though we have the rules by law or how has to be all this interview and step and paperwork, they are still very independent. One consulate, for example, in Los Angeles is working probably different to one in Michigan and to one in Detroit and Chicago. So I gotta say, that's why it's good. We try to go to these consulates that are being more friendly and more
friendly.
flexible,
That's true.
because then we can have a better experience and a better result. And I have said I have seen, for example, that clients that said, I requested the permanent and they gave it to me. And it's people that is maybe 57, 55, not entirely retired, but if the consulate is friendly and flexible, you have more probabilities to succeed on your application.
Yeah, so be very careful to choose which consulate
Yes,
you go.
I think that's important. Yeah.
So another question is about during the interview, they may ask you what you plan to do in Mexico, how you support yourself. I know some people may be like, oh, I can look for some work there, maybe start a company, do some trading, do some business. Should they talk to the consulate during the interview?
My advice is that during the interview, you always try to prove that you have enough money to live in Mexico with resources from your country. And that if you want to work in Mexico, which is completely legal if you get the permit, it's if you want to invest in a company, that if you already have expertise and a way to create businesses and employment for Mexican or for the local people in the community. If you always try to give a little bit back to your community of what you receive, that's always going to be positive. Just be very careful if you're going to look for an employment, if you don't really have a company or some business that you want to open in Mexico and you're going to look for an employment, just don't say it at the beginning. My advice is get the residency with your savings, with your bank account. If it's temporary, great. If it's permanent, even better. But eventually you will get to Vallarta or any other place in Mexico, and then you can easily get the permit to work in the local immigration office, the application and some other documents like corp and tax ID number, and it's very easy.
Yeah, just to be avoid to talk about that you're looking for a job, looks
Yes.
like you cannot support yourself from
Exactly.
your saving or investment account.
Yes, you don't want to
Right.
give that that vibe to the to the consul. Yeah, you always try to make sure you're very sure about what you're gonna do and that you will have enough money to support yourself living here.
That's true.
Yes.
So the last question is, do you think Mexico is a good place for immigrants, includes Chinese people, to live here?
I will always recommend Mexico. I think it's a very friendly place, and if you want to invest, grow, open a business, work, learn Spanish, learn about great culture and food, it's very fun and it's safe. I gotta say, I recommend Mexico because if you want to get to know this country, you will realize we're very free, and you can feel that we live in a culture that is like, if you will be adopted in a new family, we are warm people, and I think you can find Mexico very attractive for investment, for working and living peacefully also. I think we have some similarities with China in the environment, in the culture as well, if you think about it. And I guess you should give yourself an opportunity to come to Mexico, visit. We have all kinds of weathers. We have beautiful waterfalls, river, beaches. It's such a beautiful diversity that we have. And honestly, you will learn a lot about our culture if you visit us. Since Mexico City to other places like Oaxaca, Puebla, Jalisco, we offer so much, you won't regret it.
And
Come to Mexico.
Some Mexican food actually are pretty similar to Chinese food.
Yes,
like
like spicy and the
the
rice.
soup.
You like Mexican food?
Yes, we love it.
See,
Like,
that's great.
Like some soup are very similar to Chinese soup.
That's true. I have my husband has visited China a couple of times,
yeah,
and
he
he
told
says
me.
some food can be even a little similar. I have never had the pleasure to be in China. I have to. They say like it's visiting another world, and my husband said you really need to go. I hope I can do that dream come true very soon, and I hope a lot of your Chinese followers can also have the opportunity to visit Mexico and be here. They will love it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so thank you, Anna, for all your time and talk to us and share your knowledge with us. That can help many Chinese apply for the residency here. Any mistakes, anything they should know. Of course, probably we have more questions, so we'll leave for next interview or next chatting time.
Anytime, Landy. Thank you for the invitation, for the space and the time. And a lot of consulates can be more strict and difficult. I gotta say, if you're looking for a flexible, friendly consulate, it's really a Mexican consulate. We're still a country that we want to invite people. Far away from stopping visitors, we invite you to come.
Okay, thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Landy.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.